Okay, well, this week we're going old school. We're going to look at AlsaModularSynthesizer, and this will just be the overview, how to get started, and you're going to dig it. Okay, well, if you've been following along, you know that we first started messing with electronic music, electrical music, back in the 1880s, but it wasn't until the early 60s that Robert Moog invented modular synthesis, or made it commercially available. Invented's probably wrong. And look at these juicy pictures of stuff to hook together. Who wouldn't love this? Even kids. And so since the early 60s till now, these things are really expensive. But last year, just to show you that it's still alive and well, Little Bits came out with something for kids to patch together, different modules, different synth modules, and what basically modules plugged together with patch cords make sounds. You'll remember that we start with a voltage control oscillator, generally run it through a filter of some kind, put on an envelope generator, put it out, and then if you remember the original one, all the rest is magic, and these things have a lot of magic. So with no further ado, let's take a look at a software implementation of a modular synthesizer, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to hook virtual patch cords together, hook modules together, and make some noise. Okay, here we go with AlsaModularSynthesizer, and like I said, this is a blast back to the days of patching different modules together. So let's take a look. The simplest. Well, first let's look at our jack connections. I have a keyboard, I have it plugged into AMS, and I have AMS going into my system for output so you can hear it. Okay. First, we'll put in a PCM out so that we can hear the music. And this takes various inputs, and we'll put it out to the speaker out of AMS into whatever I have connected in jack. And we'll come in here and we'll pick a noise module and connect by click. Now I want to show you something else right here. I can view control center, and this is going to be really important as we go through here, because all the modules that I put up, PCM out and noise, all their parameters are going to be listed here in the control center view. So let's do that again, and because it's annoying, as you can see, I can control that parameter, the gain on the PCM out module right here. I can do the same thing by sometimes by right clicking here. There we go. Notice either way, we can control the parameters there. So that being said, let's disconnect. I'm going to right click, disconnect, right click, disconnect, right click this, remove that module. And let's put in something that from our previous synth things we've been doing should be more familiar. Here's a voltage control oscillator. I can hook a sine wave. I'm just clicking that to here. Let's bring up the maybe a saw wave. Click. And again, I just come up to module, pull down the module that I want to use, click on the various inputs and outputs to make a connection. So let's come over here and add a MIDI controlled voltage so that you can hear my keyboard. And I'll hook the frequency out of my MIDI controlled voltage into the frequency of the VCO and turn it back up a little bit. Well, let's check my jack connections. I do have the keyboard hooked to, yep. Hopefully I am not holding that key down. You notice that there is no there's nothing to tell that note to turn off. Hit another key, still there. Hit another key, still there. So what we need here is something to gate this. So we're going to come up here and we're going to put on another module. A voltage control amplifier. And we will gate this. Oops, wrong one. Gate it to the gain. This will, whenever I hit a key or let it off, it'll kick this voltage control amplifier on. Now I want to disconnect these. Send them to the amplifier. I think it was Saul. Yeah. And put this output. So now let's try that again. Oh, I got to turn up my gain. So you see how that works with the MIDI. In order for it to trigger with the node on and node off events, I have to gate it. I gate it through gain 0. Gain 1 isn't a second input like you might think. It's a multiplier for gain 0 so that you can have other maybe random inputs coming in. We'll go over that more in other weeks. But now let's take a look at this. The frequency of the MIDI control voltage of the MIDI is coming into the VCO so that it plays whatever oscillator at that frequency. Just plugging a sine and a sol into the inputs. In fact, let's come over here and let's disconnect that and hook a sol wave to both. Come over here to my VCO, to the tune parameter, and this is actually what we've called tuning or detuning before. And you've seen detuning before. Anyway, and then the output from the voltage control amplifier into the PCM out. Now let's take this just one step further for this week. We'll disconnect that, and we will put an envelope generator on it, you know, attack, decay, sustain, release. And we'll hook the gate. Output. And now, and I can change any of the attack, decay, sustain, release parameters. So you see how that works. So once again, MIDI in, going to the envelope generator. That's going to be the gate. Envelope generator is going to let us do our ADSR stuff. Its output is going to the voltage control amplifier that's coming out to the module. In the meantime, the frequency is going to the VCO that's sending out the particular waveform. Now, one last thing I want to show you is to open something. We won't save that. In Fedora anyway, in user share AMS are several subfolders. Truly, you could quit watching at this point. You know how to hook up the jack, you know the right and left click, and this thing is nothing except full of almost a self-study course you could bring up for yourself. Look at the things they've done. Here's one, and each one's got a little comment to tell you what's going on. So anyway, this whole thing is full of, like I said, all kinds of materials, various different instruments, tutorial to walk you through this step by step. Notice, well, I have mine in reverse, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, on up. Anything you'd want to explore, get into, it'll show you the setup. So that's it for this week, and have a blast. Okay, well, that's it for this week. AlsaModularSynthesizer. I hope that that was helpful to you. If your stuff doesn't act like my stuff, check the versions first. Otherwise, get involved. Check out the extensive examples and tutorials and demos in the shared folder. And otherwise, have a blast.